I'll start by saying team defense is much simpler than on ball offense, but it is much more difficult um, to master and to implement, I guess, with the team. So, to start, defense. Something that I always talk about with the kids is what are we defending? Um, because I hear a lot of kids say things like, I want to play defense so that I can hit people. Um, and again, I think it's natural to think that way because they see in whatever sport they watch on TV that people who play defense are hitting or are pushing or taking the ball or whatever. And so that's how they understand it. That's what they see. The problem is that you're defending the goal, right? So I have our kids kind of imagine that you're a security guard at a bank, right? So if you're playing defense in lacrosse, the same as if you're a security guard at a bank, then while you do want to throw checks and kind of you want to move threats away from you know the bank that you're guarding, you want to move shooting threats away from the goal, but it's only if they're coming to the goal. So kind of tying this all together, a player who is not near the goal and isn't showing the body language that they're trying to go attack the goal, that is not a player that we need to go and engage defensively as a team, right? We're not going and attacking anybody. We're defending. The players who have the hardest time learning defense have a hard time because they are trying to attack the whole time. If you play defense well, then it should seem kind of boring. It should be some like standing in one place, with your knees bent and your chest up while your head's on a swivel. It should look like that for 3 or 4 seconds. You shouldn't be sprinting away from the goal to go and take the ball away from somebody or intercept a pass or whatever. As you move up in levels in the game, that's actually going to put you out of position and you're going to cause your team to get scored on. So, what are we defending? We're defending the goal. As a team, that means we need to. I need to know where my guy is, right, if I'm on defense, but I also need to know if my guy doesn't have the ball. I need to know what my teammate is doing. Is my teammate playing defense against a dodger or against an offensive player who's really skilled or who's really fast? If so, the team needs to be ready to support that defensive teammate. So when my opponent has the ball, I maybe want to go and close the gap a little bit and shorten the amount of space that they have to work with so that they feel some pressure. They have to move from where they feel comfortable. They can't throw passes and take the shots that they want to take. So I want to do that as a defender. Right. I mean, again, think about like somebody loitering outside of a bank. Like if you're the security guard, like, hey, like don't do that. Like don't just hang out over here. Like go over there. Go somewhere else. Uh, Defensively, that's kind of what something that you can do. When your player has the ball, but when you're playing defense on someone who doesn't have the ball, you want to help in toward the goal, toward the middle, so that you can support your teammate if they get beat. If your teammate gets his ankles broken and then the person they're playing defense on shoots and scores, you can't raise your hand and say, "Oh, well, I had my guy." Right? That doesn't work. You don't. They get to score a point whether you had your guy or not. So while individual defense is great, and every now and then you'll throw a stick check and you'll pop the ball up out of a kid's pocket while he's running to the goal. You can push transition the other way. That looks awesome. It's a great feeling. But while you're on defense, the goal is to play from the inside of the field and look out and push away any scoring threats from the goal. So sometimes, actually oftentimes, that is a pretty boring thing to do. And if it is really adventurous, if there's a lot going on, if you're playing defense and you're running all over the field and you're out of breath, then you might also be putting your team in a tough spot. So that's just a note about team defense. We want to make sure that our teammates are supported if they get beat, so that way our opponent doesn't just score because they're playing against an individual defender. So team defense is something that we will highlight in summer and going into fall ball.